Okay, good afternoon on a beautiful sunny day here. It's great. And I want to thank the leadership of Lakeland College for giving me the opportunity to be the Master of Ceremonies today for this significant funding announcement. It's a pleasure to have the Premier here, Minister Nicolaides, to be here today and be joined by Dr. Wainwright Stewart and members of the Lakeland College community. For generations, Lakeland College has been the site of hope and opportunity and have served this region for almost 110 years. The institution provides students the opportunity to live, learn, and work in rural Alberta. Students today, like the ones here at Lakeland College, are the workforce of Alberta's tomorrow. Today's announcement will ensure that that tradition is maintained and sustained and will continue to grow and provide educational opportunities for even more generations to come. Following the remarks from Premier Kenney, the Minister, and Dr. Wainwright Stewart, the Premier's communication staff will coordinate a Q&A with the media. It is now my pleasure and my honor to call upon the Premier of our province, the Honourable Jason Kenney, to provide remarks. Mr. Premier.
Thank you very much, Garth, and thank you all for being here. I'm delighted to be here as well with Advanced Education Minister Dimitrios Nicolaides for an important announcement about Alberta's recovery plan and to ensure a strong future for Lakeland College. And glad as well to be here with Mayor Macaulay and Reeve Swirpa, as well as Dr. Alice Wainwright Stewart for hosting us today at Lakeland College, which for over a century has been one of Canada's great agricultural schools and now a diversified educational institution renowned for programs as far-ranging as interior design, property appraisal and assessment, and fire and emergency training. The college was founded, I'm told, on the watch of Alberta's second Premier, Arthur Sifton, who also happened to be the MLA for Vermilion. And he was a member of the remarkable Sifton clan that played such a critical role in the development of Canada's West, and Alberta in particular. Arthur's younger brother, Sir Clifford, was, of course, Wilfrid Laurier's interior minister, famously having crafted the Canadian immigration policies that populated the prairies with European immigrants. These sodbusters didn't all arrive as highly skilled farmers, though, so Arthur's agricultural colleges in Vermilion, Olds, and Claresholm were essential to training Alberta's first farmers over a century ago, laying the foundations for our province's extraordinary success as a major global producer and exporter. I personally never tire of researching and sharing these stories from Alberta's history because they explain how we got to where we are today, and as policymakers, they should inspire us to be as far-sighted as those brilliant leaders were in that time. I'm touring Northern Alberta this week to highlight the Economic Recovery Plan after wrapping up the spring session of the legislature with Dimitri and Garth in the legislature last week. Yesterday I was in Jasper, Hinton, and Edson, and this week I'll be headed out to St. Paul, Cold Lake, Lac La Biche, and other points in the Northeast. It's great to get outside the political bubble and visit with folks who are living and working in the real world, because, as you know, this has been a tough year, and we want to hear the experience that people are going through, and I'm so inspired by the spirit of resilience I'm encountering from regular Albertans in every corner of the province. It has been a super tough year with the global pandemic and recession, and on top of that, the oil price collapse damaging, obviously, Alberta's economy. But in my travels around the province, I'm finding the can-do spirit alive and well. In fact, folks are impatient for us to do whatever is necessary to get COVID under control so we can get our lives back to normal and get our economy working again. Now, Alberta Health's excellent interactive map on COVID-19 reports that as of July the 1st, there were 0 active cases in Vermilion County. So congratulations to everyone in this area for your care and your diligence and your regard for others. Obviously, not all parts of Alberta have been so fortunate in containing the virus, but overall, Albertans have managed this pandemic a lot better than other big provinces and many other countries. Alberta Health had a brilliant pandemic response plan in place, and they took early action to implement one of the most aggressive and effective testing regimes in the world. Plus, the vast majority of Albertans have demonstrated great personal and civic responsibility by following the public health guidelines to prevent this spread and to protect seniors and others who are uniquely vulnerable. As a result, our rates of infection, of hospitalization, and of COVID-related mortalities have been relatively low. And we were able to keep most of our industries operating. We've been able to reopen more of our economy and lives sooner than others. But the recent uptick in infections is, in some areas, is of course concerning. I suppose it was perhaps inevitable with the relaxation of public health restrictions. On the key metrics, though, hospital capacity being the big one, Alberta is still in a very strong position to weather the storm. If we all remain vigilant and disciplined, we'll be able to keep COVID under control and continue carefully to open more of our normal lives, including schools, in September. I've said from the beginning of the crisis that our twin challenge is to protect both lives and livelihoods. The economic, social, and public health impact of a broad, prolonged lockdown would be truly profound. And that's one of the reasons we kept Alberta's legislature sitting through much of the past 5 months. In fact, we sat twice as many days and passed twice as many bills as the average amongst Canadian legislatures, hopefully demonstrating some leadership by example. The majority of those bills were either related to emergency measures to protect public health and provide things like income support, tax loan, and utility relief to Albertans who lost their jobs and have suffered financial hardship. Or they were bills putting in place both the short and long-term building blocks of Alberta's recovery plan. In the short term, we're investing in projects that are designed to get Albertans working now, building on public infrastructure now that will support economic growth and long-term prosperity well into the future. And that's what brings me here to Lakeland College in Vermilion today, as I am very pleased to announce that Alberta taxpayers are investing $17.3 million to modernize the Mead Building, the Centre of Animal Science Studies, here at Lakeland College. This project will create about 100 jobs this year for mostly local tradespeople and construction workers. It will modernize student classrooms and research facilities, and it will upgrade the building's energy efficiency. This is an investment in the Alberta farmers and ranchers of the future, and in the animal science research that will make them even more competitive and successful producers. The upgrades to the Mead Building will complement other recent growth of Lakeland's facilities, including expansion of the Vermilion Campus Farm, which will soon include a bison operation, I'm told, plus a new animal health clinic and dairy learning center, and the modernization of the college's livestock research facility. Primary agriculture and agri-food processing are only going to become more important to Alberta's economy in the decades ahead. As the world's population grows and more people in the developing world join the ranks of the middle class, the demand for safe, healthy, high-quality food is certain to rise, and Alberta is going to need ever more sophisticated farmers and ag practices and technologies to win a greater share of that growing global market. The investments that we are making here at Lakeland College will therefore pay big dividends for Alberta well into the future. Today's investment comes out of our accelerated capital maintenance and renewal program, under which nearly $2 billion is being invested this year to create tens of thousands of jobs, building and upgrading schools, roads, hospitals, and core infrastructure. Almost $100 million of that capital maintenance and renewal has been distributed to 11 post-secondary institutions in the province, creating more than 500 jobs, including those that we're announcing here at Lakeland today. Accelerating this capital spending is a key part of Alberta's recovery plan, our bold, ambitious, long-term plan to build, to diversify, and to create jobs, and particularly ensuring a future for our core industries like energy, but also accelerating Alberta's economic diversification in areas like technology, tourism, financial services, petrochemicals, agri-foods, while creating tens of thousands of much-needed jobs now. Overall, the plan makes infrastructure investments totaling more than $10 billion this year and likely as much next year. the single largest government infrastructure spend in Alberta history, the largest per capita in Canada, estimated to create 50,000 jobs. It includes projects like the $1.5 billion Keystone XL pipeline construction, which is well underway here in Alberta, in Saskatchewan, as well as in the U.S. And the plan also will restore Alberta's status as a magnet for investment with the acceleration of the job creation tax cut and the continuation of the red tape reduction initiative. I want to wrap up by acknowledging the fact that everything we're doing now to get Alberta through the pandemic and recession is being funded by government debt. And there will be a fiscal reckoning in the future. But it is all designed to enable the private sector to resume its key role as the generator of jobs, growth, and wealth, including the tax revenues that we'll need to get us out of the fiscal hole we're deeply in right now. I have no doubt that Albertans will overcome the fiscal and economic and health challenges that we are facing today. We have the people, the resources, and the irrepressible spirit to get it done. You know, it was just over 100 years ago that people in this community overcame the Spanish flu and went on to build one of the most prosperous places in the world. Their children overcame the Great Depression. We've overcome greater challenges than this, and we will do it by working together, inspired by the entrepreneurial culture of this province, of which Lakeland College is such an important part. So congratulations to Lakeland, to all of the staff, the board of directors, and the whole Vermilion community for what you do to support higher education and agriculture in this province. And with that, I'd like to hand it over to Advanced Education Minister Dimitrios Nikolaides. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Premier, for this important announcement today here for Lakeland College. I want to take a moment to thank and recognize Dr. Wainwright Stewart, of course, President of Lakeland College, and Board Chair Scott Webb, as well as the student representatives and faculty representatives who have undertaken a very challenging task during this global pandemic and have worked exceptionally hard to help provide an online learning environment for our students so that they could continue their post-secondary studies in a time of adversity. So I want to thank the leadership of Lakeland College for helping our students transition to an online environment during that time. I know many students will be returning back to campus in some capacity this coming September, and we're looking forward to that. As the Premier noted, over the past several weeks, as part of Alberta's recovery plan, Alberta's government has announced $98 million in additional capital maintenance and renewal funding for a wide variety of post-secondary institutions in the province. My government colleagues and I believe that post-secondary institutions are critical to building an Alberta that is open for business, as well as building a modern and diverse workforce and society. Today's taxpayer announcement of more than $17 million will provide an immediate boost to the region in the form of almost 100 new job opportunities. And on top of that, the resulting improvements to the Mead Building here behind us will serve the community well into the future. This project will help Lakeland College adapt to students' evolving needs and ensure the region's future generations have access to high-quality, practical, relevant learning experiences. This is the 11th such announcement we've made over the past few weeks. And of course, Lakeland's hands-on learning opportunities and community-focused programming are essential to East Central Alberta. Programs at this college place a strong emphasis on practical learning experiences, empowering students with highly valuable skills and knowledge, and ultimately setting them up for success after graduation. Furthermore, Lakeland College's extensive dual credit and university transfer opportunities help encourage more students to pursue educational goals, while also making sure that they have a variety of paths to choose from. Alberta's government recognizes that one of the best ways to prepare students for success and empower them to contribute to the growth of our economy is by creating and maintaining modern learning spaces. The capital maintenance and renewal projects we have announced will create approximately 533 full-time jobs across the province. At the same time, these projects will give institutions the facilities they need to equip our students with the skills, knowledge, and competencies they need to adapt to a modern economy. This continued investment in advanced education helps protect and improve our world-class post-secondary system and help make a difference in the lives of all Albertans. Thank you, Premier, again for your attendance here today, and I'd like to invite Dr. Wainwright Stewart to make some remarks as well.
Hello, everyone. What an exciting day for Lakeland College, our students in our region. Premier Kenney, Minister Nicolaitis, and MLA Roswell, thank you so much for being here today to announce this Government of Alberta's investment in Lakeland College. $17.3 million. Wow, this will transform our WHT Mead Animal Science Center. But it will do even more for our students because it opens a new chapter of innovation and investment in our programs. The WHT Mead Animal Science Center is a hub for work-integrated learning. It's a home for more than 550 animal science students, as well as 300 environmental students and human service students. This space for our students will help them build their essential skills for their chosen industry. It's where they will connect and collaborate with peers. It's where they will start their journey in learning and leadership. And from here, they graduate job ready. At Lakeland, we're future focused and learner success is our priority. And this incredible investment from Government of Alberta will enable us to expand this facility to ensure that our students continue to have modern spaces for learning and innovation. It will also accommodate new programs and increased enrollment. You know, for the past 10 years, enrollment in agricultural sciences has grown 100% here at Lakeland College. And that's a testimony to the quality programs and the faculty that we have here. We can't wait to welcome more students and ensure that our students have a space that is inspiring. Today's announcement is more than just new classrooms and lab space. It's an investment in our region's future. We embrace our role in supporting our communities and rural sustainability. And we are proud to see that this project will create over 100 jobs in our region. Now, just before I end, I want to tell you a little bit about the building's namesake. William Mead graduated from our college in 1927. In the yearbook, he was noted to be a leader in everything he did. That trait followed him throughout his distinguished public service career in Alberta. He pioneered research in artificial insemination. He made significant contributions to livestock production and helped establish the U of A Research Ranch at Casella. Mr. Mead was inducted into the Alberta Agriculture Hall of Fame in 1989. So within the walls of this new modernized building, our students will learn and lead. And one day, just like Mr. Mead, they too will be difference makers. Thank you again to the Alberta government for investing in our skilled students and Alberta's future industry leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Wainwright Stewart. We're now happy to take some questions from media. There's a microphone just behind you there. I remind you to ask one question and one follow-up.
So this is a question for Dr. Alice. With the combination of COVID, you guys are going with a mixed approach of both online and in-class learning. According to the release, plans for this expansion or construction will begin immediately. So what will it look like for students that need to use this building?
What it will look like, the students, if we need the building right now, we have a contingency plan. So we'll make sure that no student is left behind for what they need space for. We have other spaces where we will look at if we can get the construction started right away. We're going to be doing a staggered approach. So at no time in the future will this place be full capacity all at once.
Okay.
Good afternoon. This question is for Premier Kenney. I'm Angela with Lakeland Connect. And I'm wondering, how does investing in agriculture students now impact the economy in the future?
Well, as I've said, agriculture, we think, is a key part of continuing to diversify Alberta's economy. There has been massive gains in agricultural output, in yields, and in the value of our ag industry in the past couple of decades. A lot of that coming out of the kind of things that are studied at Lakeland College: crop science, animal science, smarter water management, smarter marketing techniques. Because of these kinds of innovations in agriculture, we are seeing the highest ever yields out of the Canadian prairies, and overall the greatest value ever produced by agriculture. And we think that can continue. As I said in my speech, we see in the developing world, in places like India, enormous expansion of the middle class, people's budgets going up, and they're able now to pay for a higher quality food imported from around the world. And we think the Canadian and the Alberta Ag brand make us potentially central players in the growing global markets for agricultural products. So that's why it's important for us to invest in a future for agriculture at places like Lakeland and Olds College. It's why we are developing an agriculture sector strategy that Minister Dreeshen will be releasing in the next few weeks. It will include important new investments in irrigation, an expansion of our Alberta agricultural export marketing efforts around the world, and a number of other initiatives. So this kind of infrastructure is an important part of that. It ensures that the animal sciences program here is set for the future, and that's an important part of our economic strategy.
Eric Bay with Primetime Local News for Premier Kenney. Lakeland is one of many schools obviously going back here in September. Will there be any aid from the government when it comes to implementing protocols for sanitation or just instruments for sanitation this fall?
Well, I will defer that question to the Minister of Advanced Education.
Sorry, I think your question was with respect to guidelines around sanitation. Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working very closely with all of our post-secondary institutions during the pandemic and the Office of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, and have put in place guidelines and recommendations for our post-secondary institutions to follow in terms of sanitation and maintaining physical distancing. And so I know that many of our institutions will be implementing a blended model this coming September, where some will be seeing some of the programming be delivered online, while other students can return, whether that's to use laboratory spaces or other facilities that need to be used in person. And so again, we're continuing to work with all of our institutions and the Office of the Chief Medical Officer of Health. And we do have very specific guidelines around sanitation and maintenance of physical distancing. And we'll continue to update those, of course, as we respond to the pandemic.
Thanks.